What got you excited and wanting to work on Paper Girls and to like turn an awesome graphic novel that has a very fierce fan base into a television show?
I almost didn't do it because I liked it so much. I was for many years a bookseller at a bookstore called Skylight Books in Los Angeles, and we would sell this novel, and we loved it. And so when I heard they were making it at Amazon, and I knew some people over there, and it came to me, I almost didn't do it because I was like, I don't know, it's pretty perfect, like what's the point of doing this? But then they said that Brian and Cliff were involved, and they answered all the questions about tone correctly, because there was like a sanitized kind of like Disney CW version of this that I was strictly disinterested in. Then I just kind of felt like, okay, it scares me, and that's the reason to do it. And I did get to hang out with Brian and Cliff a bunch, so that was the other like ancillary benefit.
Brian is one of the guys who writes like the best dialogues in comics.
Yes.
Do you change that, or do you just keep it as it is?
We try to do both, but that was the other thing. I mean, you really can feel how good the dialogue is when you read it. It's so concise, it tells the story so quickly, and basically what I'm doing is, telling a longer version of the story. I have 8 hours of story to tell, and you don't want to ever be like treading the water or just kind of, doing kind of what we've come to call Paper Girls karaoke. And so I think we insisted that everyone like serially read the comics over and over again to get the cadence of his dialogue. There are lines we lifted exactly. But we largely tried to kind of give the writers the freedom to kind of go in their own way. This was, the work of 8 different writers, all of them female, from kind of different walks of life, and we wanted to add those voices to this show in a way that Brian and Cliff also weren't able to. So we left room for that, but at the same time, like when he writes, I don't know, there are just certain special 80s insults that it was like, if we don't take that, we're stupid, we're not doing our job.
Like, can you give us an example?
Oh man, I don't know, like cheese dick is in there. All the things they bleeped in the screening today. I was like, it's like you can barely hear parts of this show. But yeah, gifts from the gods.
Yes, so I was lucky enough to watch all 8 episodes already, and I really loved it, especially the finale. And I wondered, I wouldn't publish anything before. I wondered, is there anything you can talk to me about towards the ending? So it's such a great cliffhanger, I think, with the new kind of time error and stuff.
Toward the ending. Well, and again, this is for after both.
Yes,
at the end of the first season, obviously the Paper Girls are split apart. This story is fundamentally about 4 girls who don't know each other, that meet and become friends or enemies or frenemies over the course of these 8 episodes. And so in a lot of ways, the worst thing that can happen at that juncture, we want it to be that they would have to be kind of rendered apart. We also wanted this to kind of go from the small to the large, in that we're, by the end of the series, there's a fucking dinosaur, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to the cathedral, we're leaving these kind of terrestrial environs and signaling that the show is going to open up and go into kind of larger scope and spectacle.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's
Of
great.
course, yeah.
So like cinemas, okay, so Paper Girls, the graphic novel, like when you read a graphic novel like that, like you said, the language, but also just like the artwork is so beautiful and amazing. And I thought that the casting and how they had them was spot on. I was like, yes. But also like some of like in the very first episode when the sky changes and that color palette. So like what sorts of conversations were had about like how do we try not do beat for beat, but like when we pull this from the page so that the people who like love this comic feel like, oh yes, I see this is doing it justice.
Well, like a huge asset to us was that Cliff was kind of on call to our production department, our directors of photography, even our colorist, to kind of say, this is what I was going for. I drew these inspirations from like Alien, or like these are the things I was reading, or these are the things I was trying to do. And so we tried to kind of use what he gave us, and then obviously let those professionals play as well. But I think part of Paper Girls is that look and that color palette. I think it's as important as the words. If anything, I regret that we didn't go further with it, and I think we would in the success of a second season. But it's not poppy. It's got like a certain amount of grit, and I do think that's one of its distinguishing characteristics. And so every director that came in, we kind of made them sit with the books. We kind of talked about why those choices were what we were doing. And again, I mean, it was our immense privilege to kind of stand on their shoulders and say, so much of this has already been designed, and well, we want to give audiences something new and satisfying, and that maybe kind of goes one step beyond what was considered. I absolutely don't think we need to start from scratch, or else we'd be, missing a great opportunity.
Yeah.
The series is gonna be ready to binge watch from next week.
Yes.
And The Boys was a weekly show. How do you make this decision to either way?
Yeah, well, it's my first rodeo with a binge watch show. But I will say the show contains so many, and I think it's because it's an adaptation of the books, so many cliffhangers are like intrinsic to the story itself, that there is just something that lends itself to like, I gotta know. And so as much as, I've enjoyed having like a weekly show, Halt to Catch Fire was a weekly show, on this one it just felt right to kind of give it to everybody all at once. And, if we take a night of sleep from you, we're sorry, but I don't know, it just felt right in this instance, if it ever felt right for me.
I really enjoy the queer themes that are interwoven in, and like of discovery and self. And I wonder, can you talk me through bringing that to life on the show as an adaptation?
In terms of self-discovery?
Yeah. And the journey Peter goes through.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the biggest opportunity. Was really kind of, we hint quickly at these interpersonal stories that each girl is going through. But it was written by Brian and Cliff many years ago, and I think they were the first ones to say, let's really bring some people in who have lived these experiences. Let's see if we got it right, and then let's see if we can go deeper. And so it was a room where all the ethnicities, all the sexual orientations, all the ages kind of reflected in the show were given a voice and a chance to say, if we had a whole hour to discuss this, what did we miss? What did we get wrong? And I think that's what I'm proudest of, is that we got to kind of facilitate those larger conversations without taking away from the adventure, which is what we've done.
Is there going to be a Kate Bush type song in this season? New Order.
New Order's pretty good. There might be a pretty good David Bowie drop in there. Keep your ears open. And with good luck to the David Bowie estate.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.